All right. Well, I don't know about you, Brian, but I'm in a terrible mood.
Oh, I'm always in a great mood. I'm just sitting here. I've got a nice cozy mug of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a piss shandy. It's a piss coffee shandy. This is my drink that I drink in December. It's really rather good once you get used to it, which takes a few decades. You put in now, lest people think I'm a maniac. I want to be clear about this. You put in, it's like 2 fingers of piss, and then no coffee.
Okay, is fingers in this situation the same as like a finger of whiskey, or is there a different meaning here?
I don't think I need to elaborate on this. Yeah, it's just two fingers of piss, which is also how you get the piss.
It sucks.
Right? Using your
Don't
piss
do
fingers.
that.
It's your
Don't
piss
do
fingers.
that. Stop.
You don't know about piss fingers? Oh, wow. Maybe it's a generational thing? I don't know.
Is this like a
yeah,
Christmas tradition?
My piss shandy? Yeah.
No, the piss fingers. It's like Elf on a Shelf, but
It's not a Christmas tradition, but it is a tradition.
okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have dedicated fingers for many different things. These are my piss fingers. This one here, can I get this one up? Yeah, that's my writing finger. This is my gesturing finger. When I point at people, I do it with my pinky. You over there. Hand me that piss. Stuff like that.
I like,
you know?
the pinky is the one that's least offensive to the widest range of cultures.
That's right.
And I like that your writing finger implies that you're doing this.
Yeah, of course. I know how to hold a pen. And this is my thumb, which I use to mainly give thumbs down to people. Occasionally a thumbs up.
Right.
Like to the clips we're about to hear in this Best of 2024 episode.
Whoa, hold on. Thoughts on Piss Nog? I know you've understand.
It seems like a nice guy. I think pretty good at his job. I do wish he would kind of dial it back a little bit. I feel like the gimmick is strong. We get it. You know, you're making the piss nog every year. I think it's a little bit much to subsume your entire identity into piss nog, but you know, seems like a good dude.
Good old Piss Nog. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
I
He
think
knows when you've stumbled to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Because you drank too much piss. I think piss nog sounds like the name of an Uruk-hai, right, from Lord of the Rings.
You're so right.
Yeah. Piss nog, get over here. Yes. Where are the tasty hobbits? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Generally, are you pro eggnog? Piss
I fucking
nog
hate
aside.
it. No, eggnog
Really?
is the kind of, yes, I hate it. But, well, I don't like cinnamon. Recall, I don't like cinnamon. I don't
don't
like
have to
nutmeg.
put
I don't
cinnamon or
like,
nutmeg
well,
in it.
but it often comes with that. I don't like holiday spices. And I'm not even entirely sure what's in eggnog, except every time I've tried to drink it, like I like the idea of it. It looks good. It's nice and creamy, but also seems like it has a bunch of raw eggs in it. Who wouldn't want to drink that? And I remember for many years I would see eggnog around this time of year. I'd be like, yum, I'll try that. And I always hated it. So I'm not an eggnog person. And I think it's less because of the milk and the eggs or whatever the fuck is in eggnog, and more because of the spices.
That's so strange.
What about you? Do you like eggnog?
That's so surprising to me because I think that eggnog is the beverage that compositionally is most similar to mayonnaise.
I agree with you. That sounds right. It's close to an emulsion.
Yeah. I don't know. I like nog. I won't get it because I live alone and I cannot possibly. Like, if they did a half and half carton of eggnog.
They do, don't they? Yeah, they do.
I don't know.
You can make, even if they don't, they do at least like a quart of eggnog. You can trust you to get through a quart of eggnog.
I don't know if I can crush that nog.
Do you? Well, you're coming over for Christmas Eve. Do you want us to get some eggnog for you?
I would drink some nog.
You would? Do you put like alcohol in it?
I'd be willing to give it another shot. The times that I've done nog plus whiskey or whatever, it's kind of like ruining both simultaneously.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I like it's like I don't like White Russians either as much as I want to.
Yeah. I should know the answer to this, but if you put sperm in eggnog, do you make a baby? Seems like yes. You got to admit it seems like yes. At the very least, you got to admit that's a good question.
If you've been very good this year for the pissnog, then maybe. Mm-hmm. If there were a Christmas song about pissnog.
Yeah, it's like it rhymes with Yule log, right?
Oh.
Right? The pissnog on the Yule log. Wearing my togs.
Playing with pogs.
Playing with pogs, yep. It's a millennial Christmas. This is a good idea. Millennial Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to come up with any suggestions. Just everyone think about it, and it's probably really funny in your head.
I have to, speaking of Christmas, good commentary and good suggestions from people on last week's episode for the Stephen King Christmas songs. I thought people had some very good points that I wish we had addressed.
Yeah, a lot of them were really obvious, too. Like the fact that Grandma got run over by a reindeer is 1000% Christine. So
this is the one that I was thinking about, because when I forget who said it first, I think a couple people said that, and I was like, yes, obviously,
yeah,
that's the right one.
We were too focused on the animal element of it, animals out of control.
Yes, and less on the running people over.
Yeah, which more Christmas songs should be about running people over.
Yes. Oh,
what's the holiday season without vehicular manslaughter?
That's exactly right. It's like, ho, 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 bam.
I love that in a movie or a TV show, if you ever see a car whose horn is like La Cucaracha, that car is going to crash. Like,
yeah, that's right.
It's objectively funny. I literally watched a video of a car with that going really fast over a hill and then crashing into a tree yesterday. It's something about car crashes. It's just really, really funny to me.
Well, that's why we've been doing this show for 4 years.
Yeah, one long slow motion car crash.
Yeah, actually, so the slow motion thing reminds me. I was just thinking as I was taking a sip. I love it, and Letterman is like the absolute master of this. Is when talk show hosts. Let's see, which side should I do this on? Over here. Do a real slow sip where they're like.
It's the face afterwards too.
Yeah. It's like that face that says like, "Da fuck."
I can't get visions of Pissnog the Christmas gremlin out of my head.
Pissnog. Okay, that's our Christmas song. Pissnog, the Christmas
gremlin.
Is it Gremlin? Gremlin's really good. I feel like it's Gremlin.
Pissnog the Christmas goblin kind of rolls
Goblin,
off
thank you.
rolls off the tunnel.
That's what I was looking for there, goblin. Because I think it's Nog. Nog seems like a goblin-y suffix.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Pissnog the Christmas goblin. Honestly, Leighton, that is a winner of a song idea, which I might have
leave
to
your
write
cups
now.
of piss out overnight.
Yeah, for Pissnog. Yeah, the Christmas... And what does he leave? So you leave him a cup of piss. And what does Pissnog leave you? I mean, presents? But it's got to be a specific...
He leaves you eggs. Raw eggs.
Raw eggs. Raw, unshelled. No. Mm-hmm. Raw shelled eggs.
But if you're bad, the eggs are broken.
Not feeling the eggs thing.
Okay.
I think we can top it.
Well, I mean, it could be not that you leave out cups of piss, but that for him to drink, that he leaves his piss, but his piss is eggnog?
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, so you leave him $2.57 in cash, and he gives you a cup of his eggnog piss, which you drink while toasting to Pissnog, the Christmas
he
goblin.
pisses eggnog. It's straight up eggnog.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same page here. That's right.
Okay. I would say that this year, though, probably you're going to need to leave like an extra quarter to account for inflation.
Well, inflation, of course. It didn't start $2.57.
You used to be able to get Pissnog piss for 5 cents on the dollar.
Minimum. Back in the day, it was like a shilling.
Flip him a nickel.
Yeah.
Oi.
Merry Pissmas.
Oi, somebody give me some coins for my piss.
That, first of all, good accent. Second of all, Merry Pissmas. How have I not heard anyone say Merry Pissmas? Well, you didn't react to it when I said it before, but that's how this song ends, right? Merry Pissmas. That's what Pissnog says, right?
Fuck the rest of this episode. Let's just run with this.
Honestly, I'm strongly considering pulling up a keyboard here and just writing this right now.
Okay.
Every year on Christmas Eve, with friends and family near, there comes a little goblin guy to fill our day with cheer. Oh, pissnog, piss your piss for me. Load my mouth and quench my thirst with your delicious pee. People all around the world, from Tokyo to Turin, all gather round to guzzle down his warm, distinctive urine. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. Leave a nice hot mug of piss beneath the Pissmas tree. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. Yum, 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 yummy pee. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. I'll wait beneath the mistletoe for you to piss-kiss me. Merry Pissmas!
There's, what's the Hallmark Christmas movie version of Pissnog? I got to show Aaron and Susie had seen it, but I got to show Aaron the Ron Howard How the Grinch Stole Christmas the other week.
Which I still haven't seen.
Oh my god, we have to watch it. I think Audrey would love it. It's so dumb. It's also so great where it's like, oh my god, everything is a real bespoke physical prop. There's prosthetics, there's
That's
costumes,
yeah.
Like this is all real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but I think that Pissnog the Christmas Goblin would fall into the Grinch category of like, this is a movie about a weird little guy learning the meaning of Christmas.
Oh, see, I thought he was going to be like here's what I thought you were going with this. Pissnog is in a rocky relationship, right? With what Pissnog we're going him for Pissnog here? I think so. Right?
Sure,
Does that seem right?
Yeah,
sure. You know what? Yeah, okay, great. We can remain agnostic, but we're going to say he. So Pissnog has been with his longtime girlfriend. They've been engaged for about 3 years. And when you meet Pissnog and his girlfriend, Stacy, that it's not going well. Like, they feel kind of an obligation because they've been together so long to like be engaged, but they're not setting a date. Neither one is really into it. Okay.
They're annoyed with each other over petty domestic disputes.
All the time, squabbling.
Which way the toilet paper is on the roll.
Yeah, and they have real affection for each other, but it's clear they shouldn't be together, right?
Yeah.
So they go back to the town they both grew up in. Right?
Oh.
They're high school sweethearts. Right? No, community college. They're community college sweethearts. And they go back to the town they grew up in, right? And they rekindle. So they start hanging out with high school and community college friends, and they kind of rekindle these friendships. And in the process, they split off to hang out with their different friend groups. Because, by the way, they were very different kind of social strata in high school. Pissnog was fucking cool, quarterback
was
of the
Pissnog a
Piss
jock?
team. Yes, that's right. He was quarterback of the foot team, right? So we're going to throw a foot. No, it's too much. I could tell from your face. It's too much. Dial it back, Brian. Dial it back. All right. Pissnog was a very cool kid in community college. Okay. Right. And Pissnog, popular, attractive, like all this stuff. Stacy was a theater kid and not unpopular, but not super popular. She wasn't like some, outcast, just a different group. Right. But Pissnog was like the, kind of on the top of the social hierarchy, and Stacy was somewhere in the middle. So anyway, they connect back with some friends. It's been a while. They haven't been home in a while because of piss COVID. So they go back home and they see a bunch of friends.
Because of coronavirus.
Okay, very good. Yep. Eurona 69. They go back and they rekindle.
Almost a piss take. Did
you say that wasn't on purpose?
You got piss on the
we
brain.
did it, folks. Shut it down. Episode's over. We're not gonna top that.
Wow.
I really thought you did that on purpose.
No.
Fantastic. Okay. Anyway, please just let me get through this. They go back to their hometown where they went to school together. We'll just say school. And they start hanging with these friends again, and they realize that there's someone else that they should be with. And they're not cheating because they're honorable people, but they're vibing with other people there, right? And the movie is them coming to terms with the fact that they need to break up. So they're not going to cheat on each other, but it's this journey of, when friends and family and coming home for Pissmas makes you realize that your life is not going the direction you want it to, and you need to make a change. And at the end where this ends is they're asking the other people out on for Pooh Year's Eve.
My God. On
these dates. Yeah.
I was about to say this is terrible, but you saved it with Pooh Year's Eve.
Yep. So it's a little it's this your grandmama's Pissmas movie.
Yeah. What is this? Directed by Noah Baumbach.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. What would this be called if it was directed by Noah Baumbach? What are the Noah Baumbach movies? Squid and the Whale.
Marriage Story.
Marriage? Really? I forgot about that.
Barbie?
Plausible. Noah Baumbach didn't direct Barbie.
It was Greta Gerwig and Wright. Am I making that up?
No, they co-wrote it, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, written by. All right. No, see, where I thought you were going with this is the classic Hallmark Christmas setup of it's the same relationship between Pissnog and Stacy, but Stacy is a city girl working on her career.
Okay.
And they go back to Pissnog's hometown, and Pissnog runs into a girl that he knew in high school who used to have glasses and be ugly, but now she's an adult and hotter. And she's like, hey, Pissnog, haven't seen you around in a while. And he's like, oh, haha. And then basically the narrative is tacitly being it's fine to cheat on your boring girlfriend, whatever.
Oh, I like this too. Sure.
Reunited with your high school sweetie.
Yes, and it's Pissnog realizing that he's Polly is the story here. The big
Pissnog's
cathartic moment. Yeah. Pissnog's very Polly, a roly poly Christmas.
Underneath the pistletoe.
Yeah. See, anything. Replace the word Chris with piss, and you've got it.
Put the piss back in Christmas.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest bit we've ever done, and also I
think it's really good.
Glowing with pride.
We're 20 minutes into this best of 2024 episode, and we have not come close to discussing the show or a clip.
We didn't do it last year, and last year's best of is one of my favorites. So I think the less we speak of it, the better.
What I like about when I think about last year, I think about I have the mental image of teetering over a precipice with desperately trying to cling to something on the other end, and then being like, hey, let's go record a podcast.
Yes.
That's where we were last year. No.
Mentally, I'm there. I certainly don't have the conditions that you were in last December, but mentally, emotionally, I'm there.
So, hell yeah, you are.
I
feel great. I'm here with my
piss take. God damn.
Atari 2600 Kroll cassette.
Was that a gift?
No, I purchased this. I was in Vermont earlier this year for a family wedding, and there was an antique mall, and they had a bunch of Atari 2600 cartridges, and I purchased this Kroll cartridge, which I definitely, I'm old enough to have had an Atari 2600 when it was a thing, and I definitely didn't have the Kroll game.
That's very exciting. I'm happy for you. Do you have an Atari now?
No.
Oh.
But who doesn't love Kroll? We've discussed Kroll on this show?
I don't think so. Also, is Kroll Pissnog's brother? Also,
I like that.
I gotta come back, Krollnog. I gotta come back to the thing that's been haunting me is discussing this movie. I know you're trying to move on from Pissnog, but
I'm really not. Yeah.
Is Pissnog a regular guy, or is everyone a human and he's a goblin and
it's
nobody?
The latter. It's 100% the latter. That's where I was going. What did you think?
No, I was considering both options.
I think Pissnog maybe part of the movie is Pissnog is wearing like a human suit. You know what I mean? And he's
3
a
piss
little.
nogs in a trench coat.
Now that's a good date. I think Pissnog. I think Pissnog is just a little, Green Goblin-y
Yeah.
thing, and then
He's hairy.
everybody else is a human. There's a version of this where he's like a puppet, like a Muppet style thing. I think he's CGI though.
As we'll mention in one of the clips that we'll play during this clip show, the puppet thing is played out.
Well, exactly. But maybe it's coming back. Is it so played out that it's time for a revival?
No, because I've seen multiple recent things do the puppet thing, and it's like, no, guys, this doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just asking at some point in the not too distant future, the puppet thing is going to be cool again. It will go from stop it, it's played out to, oh shit, that's right, that was pretty cool. Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I think that we'll see.
You disagree with me. You can
No, I don't
publicly you can't disagree with me, but
Right.
offline, feel free to disagree with me.
No, I have no disagreements. I just,
Great.
I felt
otherwise
my brain.
just bad optics, right? Just bad optics. Otherwise.
My brain was wandering off into the forbidden zone of like stuff that I can't make jokes about because it's too real. So
Okay.
I'm not doing that to save
Too real,
you.
like puppets. Great. Yes, to save me from editing hell.
Yeah, all the little Muppets in my brain they're going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well,
Piss Nogs you will log.
Pissnog Zulog. I like it. And on that note, this is Late Night with Brian Wecht. This is our best of 2024 episode at this pace. This is part 1 of our best of 2024 episode. And I think we're doing a two-parter again this year. Do we do it? I think we did a two-parter.
I think we do
last year.
two-parters every year because
Pretty
just
much
to get us through Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, and it's fun, and we get to that way. We're not beholden to
Recording during
racing.
the holidays. Yeah.
Also that. And look, if fucking honestly, one of the highlights of my year is listening to the Comedy Bang Bang best ofs. And those episodes are all like 3 fucking hours long, and they do 4 of them. It's like a truly, it is an investment.
See, but that's my favorite kind of thing. Now I get sad if I'm on YouTube and I pick a video and it's only like 40 minutes.
Oh,
I feel like this is half the reason that I watch interrogations, because it's like 6 hours of content. I don't have to pick other content. It is on in the background. I'll go about my day as this murderer describes atrocities. That's normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's podcasting, baby. Well, listen, you actually did a little more prep than I did. For
once,
because I pay people to do prep for me. That's where I am in my life. By the way, you notice what I'm wearing here today? See what I'm wearing here?
Oh, is that a zip-up jacket?
No, it's a hoodie. See, there's a hood. This is a hoodie I wear frequently. It's from what used to be the Bomb Factory in Dallas and is now just the Factory, a venue that Ninja Sex Party is playing at in 2025.
Wow.
And
yes,
this is
I know many people we know have that same jacket.
That's right, because it is one of the, I guess, from what I'm led to believe, few like club venues of an appropriate size in Dallas. It's also way bigger than we can sell out. And even, at when NSP was selling the most tickets, we couldn't get close to selling that place out.
Wow.
'Cause it's like a 4,000 seat venue, and we've never been, we've played to that many people, but not as a regular stop on a national tour. Those are like special dates. But yeah, this is my Bomb Factory, now the Factory, hoodie, which I wear regularly, which you have, there's plenty of photographic evidence of. You can talk to, I have prepared I actually subpoenaed a few people, which turns out it doesn't mean what I thought it meant. So they're not happy right now. I subpoenaed all over them. That's my favorite face. Why does everyone I know keep making that face? It must be something wrong with other people.
Yeah, well, I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong, and we
Oh,
received
same.
a lot of feedback on my comments on what constitutes a hoodie versus a jacket on the last episode, and I just want to say that I apologize for nothing.
Yet you got about as thoroughly owned as I've ever seen someone get owned on that Discord. I believe nobody agreed with you.
Literally nobody. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I don't need you to agree with me.
Now
I know in my heart that I'm right.
Was it Jimmy Carter who said he lusted in his heart? Isn't that right?
I don't know. For what?
I believe
Peanuts?
no, he was talking about how he never had an affair, but he lusted in his heart. I might be getting that wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Look, yeah,
Bro,
Google.
you couldn't waterboard that out of me.
Are you looking it up right now?
That's definitely not getting the things. Okay.
Wait, are you just
Carter.
did you put Jimmy Carter lust and it was a bunch of like Jimmy Carter porn? Jimmy Harder?
No, of course not. I've looked on a lot of women with lust. I've committed adultery in my heart many times.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes. I mean, bro, same.
I'm committing adultery in my heart every day, bro.
I'm doing it right now.
About pissnog?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Unexpected sex.
Pissnog. Here's the thing about Pissnog, and we should have said this before. Pissnog's a little hottie, right?
Pissnog's a baddie.
Yeah, he's like really swole. Like the Pissnog works out, and he hydrates constantly. And I don't need to tell you with what.
Okay. Yeah, Pissnog is tiny, hairy, jacked,
huge,
very
dick.
horny.
Yes, very horny, like uncomfortably horny. He's not like uncool about it, right? Yeah. He's just
he's
like
a ladies' man. He's a ladies'
man.
goblin.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He's young, dumb, and full of piss.
Great. Clips save us.
I was telling my friend Rich yesterday. We were talking, and I explained to him
our friend Rich or different Rich.
No, different Rich. You don't know this Rich.
Wow, fuck this other Rich then.
Calm down. Because
I'm defending our Rich.
Yeah, well, our Rich is the best. This other Rich is an old friend of mine, and I was telling him that one of my favorite things is when you say the words "so true" while looking off into the distance. So true. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
Why don't you hit us with a clip here? What are we moving to first? These are clips that were chosen mostly by our community of wonderful people on our Discord, patreon.com/late night to get access to that. And we have a regular best of channel where people can put stuff in that they like from the year. And people they've been doing it all year. They do it all year. And yeah, these are what these clips are from.
Great. So we have lots of options. Just going off of what catches my eye and feels like a good way to get into the vibe. Let's hear a little bit about Budget Margarets.
All right. Well, now what? Okay. So what episode is this from?
This is from episode 231.
Mm-hmm. And was there when you set these up? Tell me, we're looking at the same thing. There's no guest on these, right?
Some of them have guests, some of them don't.
Okay.
Great. And you know what? I want to say that I'm heartened by the fact that the lion's share of favorite moments from this year are all from solo episodes with just us two.
That is true. We, looking through these, this is a very us heavy thing. And I think that comes from the fact, actually looking at the guests that we have on here, you can tell who we feel extremely comfortable with. Right?
Yes.
We've got Chris Grace. We've got Rachel. A bunch of other people. Like it's, these are the people that we can.
Have a bunch of other people.
There are a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wario.
Well, don't get me started on that little fuckboy. What? It's like the way I said it, the tone in which I used it, that was a compliment. And you have to admit
I'm not saying that it's the problem is that it's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'll tolerate being horned up for Pissnog, but I draw the line at Wario.
At Wario. Yeah. At least he can fuck, I guess. I don't know. We'll get into
Well,
that.
now we have to play that clip. Fuck budget Margaret.
Okay, fine. Yeah, you know what? I guess we're. Do I really want to say this? I was debating not saying it, but I'm gonna say it. We're gonna blow our pod right away at the top here. Do you understand the joke I'm making? Layton, you're looking at me like you may not understand it, so I'm just gonna really elaborate it here.
Rich, roll the clip. Roll the clip now. Roll it now. I think. How about we get into who falls into fucks?
Well, but we might have to repopulate once we know what the S tier is. Let's at least define the S tier.
That's fine.
I guess. Okay, fine.
I think
you know
there
what?
are going to be certain special use cases here.
All right. I'm just going to go for the immediately obvious. Waluigi fucks. Everybody knows it.
Yes.
Right.
Agree.
Waluigi, of all the characters, has the biggest like kind of energy of all of them. Right.
Yeah, you're correct.
I know.
That's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah. Now, I would say by the same token. Now, okay. Sorry. Let's talk about Waluigi for a moment here.
Talk about him sexually for a moment.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What is it about Waluigi that radiates fuck energy? Because this guy's got it.
He's got a bit of a Pete Davidson thing going on.
Oh wow. Okay, sure.
What was it that I watched that had a really cringe? Oh yeah, in the new season of The Boys, there's a reference to somebody having Pete Davidson energy.
God,
and it's like,
yeah.
guys, what the fuck are we doing?
No, thank you. Yeah, that is a what the fuck are we doing if I've ever heard one.
I say this like I'm not anxiously awaiting the next episode of the show. It's not a good season, but I am enjoying it.
Look at that nose, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm. And the chin.
And the chin. The guy's got what's the word I'm looking for? He's got appendages.
Protuberances.
Yeah, indeed. He's got some stuff on his face that could be used for various purposes. So I think just looking at the guy, also he's a bad boy, right? Like he's gonna, so to speak, get down in there, and I think, which is not necessarily a bad boy; those are different things, but he's gonna go for it in a really in a really committed way.
Yes. I agree with you.
You're gonna spend the night with Waluigi, and you're gonna be very grateful you did.
Yeah, I think so. I think yes. He's not. You're not. You're not taking Waluigi home to meet your parents.
No, that is definitely true. No, he's not. He is. This is not a fuck, marry, kill list because you're not going to marry that guy.
And I'm not saying it is, but I think in contrast, there's a certain level of tier where it's like fucks, but actually, you know what? No, here's what it is. Here's the difference. Fucks versus all caps makes love.
Okay, great. Is that below fucks?
I think makes love is below fucks.
Makes love. Oh, makes loves? No, makes love. Great. Love it. Great.
And my immediate thought is Luigi makes love.
Luigi, number one.
I would agree with that. Sure. Where
He's right there.
He is. There he is. Okay, great.
Yahoo!
Yep. I'm on board with that. Yeah, he's too nice, right?
Luigi, and I think this is not a dig on his sexual skill or prowess. It's
no.
That I think he cares. He's guy living in the shadow of a brother who's more popular. That's you got to make up for it somehow, and I think there's skill involved and care.
He's also Luigi too goofy to fuck.
Oh!
Right?
You saying goofy people can't fuck?
No, I'm not. I'm saying in Luigi's particular case, I mean, nobody fucks harder than the goof man himself, Goofy. That guy, Goofy, fucks.
Yeah,
everybody knows this. Yeah, exactly.
But, fuck this tier list. We're doing Disney characters now.
But Luigi has this like kind of goofball vibe that I think is a little too tender.
Whoopee!
Right?
Yeah.
I agree. He's great in the sack but he doesn't fuck.
Oh, what happened?
Yes. True.
Right? I think we can agree with this. Okay. Great. I feel okay. No, why don't you go next? Because I kind of started us off here.
Sure are a lot of baby/child characters.
Well, yeah, well, I was thinking that
list,
too. We're not touching any of the babies. That is a separate thing. We're not
official
those,
stance of late night. We
we
are
are not
touching the
ranking
babies.
Baby Mario, Baby Luigi. They are disqualified from this list on account of being children.
What's the deal with Rose Gold member Peach? What's
This
going
one
on
over
with it?
here?
Yeah.
I forget what the deal with her is.
Oh, there is a solid Steel Mario as well.
Yep.
Who's this Carmen Sandiego motherfucker?
Oh, that is Pauline, I believe, who was in the original person captured by Donkey Kong. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, but also shows up in Super Mario Odyssey as the mayor, I think, of New Donk City.
Okay, great.
Now, correct. You might want to double check my facts.
I'm
on
not
that.
going to because I don't care.
I think it's right, but would you want to place her somewhere?
I don't know enough about her to make a judgment at this moment in time.
Well, I do. Pauline Fox.
Okay, great.
In the sky.
She's
Love it.
in charge of a major city, and you can't get to that kind of position unless you're willing to get down and dirty, right? To really play hardball. She's a high-powered career woman. She knows what she likes, and she's not afraid to ask for it, and therefore she fucks.
Oh, yeah.
Brian, I fear that everyone might fuck.
If that's
Except
what
for the
happens, I don't think that's true, actually. I really don't think that's true.
Name one who doesn't fuck, who isn't a baby.
Well, let's see. Yoshi does not, has not, and will never fuck. What do you think? Agree or I can be talked out of this, by the way.
Considering his whole
Tongue thing.
abilities, yeah. I guess I'm thinking the same thing about King Boo, etc. Like it's not. I think dispositionally.
Look at his face, though. Look at Yoshi's face. That is not the face of a being who fucks.
I think that's more of a point towards one who fucks.
Oh, he's like a surprise fucker.
Yes.
I see. Okay, well,
You know what?
we
Just last week, I was trying to explain some things about this podcast to my therapist, and he was shocked and surprised when I mentioned that it gets very blue. And then I was like, oh, yeah, we make jokes about cum all the time. We have merch that says cum on it. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize how sexual it was. And I was like, wait, no.
No, it's different.
It's not like that. It's different. It's like in a goofy arch kind of way. And here we are. Here we fucking are.
Here we are. But I think this is important work.
It's true.
I'm okay. Do you want to keep Yoshi in this tier?
I think Yoshi fucks.
Okay, convince me. Change my mind.
I'm imagining the Yoshi does not fuck change my mind meme.
Yep.
I don't know. The only argument that I have is tongue, and also I think it's the looks who would surprise you that's an important quality. We can go back to the early days of the show with
is that a separate tier,
etc.
Is that a separate tier of like fucks parentheses surprise?
Yeah,
like this.
because it made me laugh. Great. Okay, Yoshi can go in the fuck surprise tier.
I don't know what's happening with. Well, whatever. That's great. Okay, yeah, I think that's true.
Okay.
Cool. We still need to define this S tier.
This is true.
Maybe we don't have it. I don't know. Maybe fucks is the highest, but you had an instinct that there was a tier higher than fucks here.
I do, because it's funny that you immediately beeline to Waluigi and not Wario.
Well,
Here's
there
the
was a
reason
tough
why-
choice. Yeah.
Here's the reason I think that there's a tier above fucks. Wario has the same fuck energy as Waluigi, but if you want to come, you have to play a minigame, like a convoluted series of
Oh,
minigames
I like
to
that.
nut. And I like the jigsaw nature of Wario Saw Trap. You can't.
Okay,
That's part of
let's-
it. It's part of it.
Let's move him up here. I totally agree with that. So, how about makes you work for it?
Oh, baby.
This graphic is pretty great, honestly.
Look at his. You know, it didn't occur to me until you said it, but now that's really got me. Yeah, look at his little face there. Oh yeah, he makes you work for it. All right, I like that a lot. Yeah.
You have to play a series of games, including blowing into your Nintendo DS microphone for it to.
Oh yeah, for
to make it happen.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's totally right. He definitely fucks, but he has conditions, right?
Terms and conditions may apply.
He's got a Let me another thing I would say about Wario is he's got a room for it.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
If we had a list of like what characters on this list have sex dungeons, Wario top. And
Yep.
I think a difference would be that Bowser also does, and no one has ever or will ever have sex in it.
I think that's very true. Okay, where are we with Bowser? So we're gonna wait. Is that the same as?
No.
Makes
No.
You,
It is
okay,
not
okay,
the
okay,
same
okay,
as
okay,
Makes You
okay,
Work
okay.
for It.
Jesus
The
Christ!
implicit thing-
Wait, I'm gonna need you to calm down, Layton. I'm gonna need you to back off for just a second here. I realize this is important, but please just restrain yourself, much like Wario
Put
would
me in-
restrain you. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you got to make sure that Wii remote is strapped on tight.
Yeah, well, you should see his Joy-Con.
All right. No, but I think the implicit thing in the makes you work for it tier with Wario being ahead of Waluigi in the fucks tier is that, you know, the implication is that in working for it, you're getting a better experience. It's like you just need to
sure.
be present and there for it. Bowser's sex dungeon, nobody's going in there except for his right claw.
So is he in the bottom tier, Bowser?
Does not, has not, and will never fuck. Because I think it would be really easy to be like, yeah, Bowser fucks, but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think here's the thing I think about Bowser. Bowser says he fucks, but doesn't. Right? Bowser's the guy who's like, yeah, what a weekend, I fuck so much.
Yeah.
I was went to the castle and I just fucked all night. But he was just home alone. Right? So
Yes.
I think I agree. Bowser talks a big game, but he can't get anything done. Famously in the games, he can't get anything done. I think Bowser is in the bottom tier, does not, has not, and will never fuck. Was making a joke on blow our
For the love of
wad.
God.
Wad. Okay. Wad, which rhymes with pod, which is interesting because wad is spelled W-A-D and pod is P-O-D. So you wouldn't think those vowel sounds would be the same, but English is a messy little bitch, and it is.
I mean, I won't disagree with you there. That one was from episode 227, which was our Who Smashes Bros episode.
Now, for me, I think this clip was, when I think about this year, this is the first thing I think of. I think this was a very funny episode with a really good gimmick. We don't have too many gimmick episodes like this. We've been debating doing more, like the Stephen King one we did. We keep talking. This episode was so fun that we keep thinking about doing more tier lists, and I just don't think we're going to top how Nintendo characters fuck. And what I like about this episode is I feel like we both learned something from doing
About
it.
each other, about ourselves.
And about Wario's sexual peccadillos.
I love that word. Underused word.
I totally agree with you. I love this episode. I think this clip is so funny. I actually watched the videos we got from it and put on our socials several times because I think They have it's really peak this podcast.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that this year we've really come into our own more in terms of going all out on gimmick. Because
Speaking about
looking at this,
coming into our own and going all out. By the way, it's such a cop out to make that as a joke, saying "speaking of thing." It's a way of acknowledging that there's a funny thing to be said, but not actually saying anything funny, which is my entire deal.
I
sense a joke opportunity, but I'm not smart enough to make it.
I choose to not listen to or parse that criticism of me.
Okay, I was talking about myself.
Oh, well, I do it constantly. So,
yeah.
Speaking of Brian hurting
this.
my feelings,
I love this episode. It was so funny. And I'm reluctant to listen to myself talk about stuff and be like, that was really funny. But I think this is really funny.
Brian, how about you introduce a clip?
Okay. Well, the question is, what do we want to do here? You know what? I feel like because I set it up this way, I feel like it's the right time to talk about fan fiction. And there was I think a really high point for fan fiction this year. Now, one of the I really have to give you credit for this, because you are the one who suggested we read a shitty book and tear it to pieces. And you specifically wanted to do Angels and Demons, right? Or you wanted to do Da Vinci Code and we changed it. What was it?
It combines my two favorite things, reading books and being a hater. So I think that the formula really worked out, and I'll admit that those are my favorite episodes of this year, are all of our bad book clubs.
Yeah, there's some really, really good ones in there. And it was totally your idea, is the point here, is your idea to like read a shitty book and then talk about it. And
nobody's ever done that before until we did it, actually.
No, I know. We decided, we saw what they call a gap in the marketplace, which was a podcast where people talk about stuff that they may not entirely like, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to start with a good one, and you are a Dan Brown super fan. Mm-hmm.
I'm a real Brown noser.
Yeah, that's right. You're part of Team Brown. And the one you suggested, Da Vinci Code, I thought it'd be more fun to do Angels and Demons because it has the physics thing. Now I'm remembering this. And we read it, and it inspired us to write our own Dan Brown-esque works. Now, I have to say, you absolutely, if there were a victor in this, it wouldn't be me. Because I kind of started something. You absolutely crushed this. And
thank you. Did I do one for Angels and Demons?
Isn't that what this is? I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking of the Ready Player one that you did.
But you wrote
you
one
did
for
do something, didn't you?
Angels and Demons. It says Leighton.
This is what happens when we don't listen to the clips ahead of time.
Listener, you're going to have to find out for yourself what actually happens on these clips. You
did do one. You absolutely did do one for this. It wasn't as involved as your Ready Player one, but it was a fan fiction. Don't you remember you had a hot protagonist, right? Or
you're describing the Ready Player one, but prepare for me to be wrong.
Okay. Well, anyway, I believe we wrote some fan fictions. Who has time to listen to these clips? Not us. But this is from...
But you do, listener. Enjoy.
But you do. This is from episode 210, part 2 of Angels and Demons. This is called, now how would you pronounce this word, Leighton? You are a demon. You are a demon. And this is some of our fan fiction.
I wrote this thing that I wanted to read to you. I have not checked it right before this recording, so this might genuinely not be interesting or funny. But I was thinking about, because of how formulaic these are and how I've read many of them at this point, I did not include anything on this list that does not happen in literally all of them. So I'd like to present to you Dan Brown's patented formula for a barely comprehensible paperback thriller.
Great.
one.
Do I hear a McSweeney's article?
Step 1. Open with a scene of a renowned scholar being murdered by a mysterious figure. Step 2. Enter hero who is so attractive and smart and attractive and who everyone wants to have sex with. 3. They are secreted away to a discreet location, probably in Europe, by a high-tech helicopter or plane. Step 4. Grisly crime scene laden with cultic symbols only the hero or someone with a basic high school education can understand. Enter sexy female scientist who had a father-daughter type relationship with said murdered scholar and is distraught but sexy and calm about it. They solve puzzles that lead them on a highly dubious treasure hunt through badly researched and geographically nonsensical foreign locales. Oh no! They're pursued by either a faceless or racist stereotype assassin who has no name or characteristics beyond being evil and having black eyes. Shocking reveal that some fundamental element of the puzzle was actually about something else obvious the whole time. Someone ... dies! Step 10, probably another person dies. Step 11, there's a bomb or something's ticking down or something. Pressure, keep turning pages, don't slow down or you'll start to question this entire thing. Blah, 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 dubious art history, blah, blah, sexy scientist smolders sexily, Robert Langdon italics, half joke that isn't funny, blah, blah, 15-year-old edgelord atheist takes on religion. Step 13, very smart protagonists find themselves in a life-threatening situation that is eerily similar to a traumatic situation from their youth that they solve with smartness. Oh no, a trusted figure to the protagonist and or a sexy scientist is revealed to be the mastermind behind the entire diabolical murder puzzle plot. Said formerly trusted figure gives a big monologue about their evil plan and is swiftly dispatched like a Pixar villain. Dan Brown, I mean Robert Langdon, does a quip. The whole world is watching and simping for Robert Langdon, who once again has saved the day with signature down-to-earth good looks and denim blue jeans. Dan Brown, I mean protagonist, is in a hotel room recuperating from their big adventure, and then the sexy scientist walks in and does really bad come-ons, and then they both make the cringiest flirtatious jokes of all time as someone hair smells like almonds, and then it ends on the worst sentence in the English language as Dan Brown rightfully earned sexual conquest.
That's fantastic.
You're writing a Dan Brown.
Did you just write this?
A couple of hours ago.
I think it's fantastic.
I was really mad about it.
I have a vague companion piece.
Yes, I think that you should. And then I think we wrap up this episode by reading the final pages of Angels and Demons,
that's
which I think we've
100% what I was going to
Great.
Suggest. Now, this is just the beginning of something that probably won't go anywhere, but I was inspired.
Will you tell
to
us
write
the title of it?
Mm-hmm. This is called The Devil's Variable, a Brian Wecht adventure. Chapter 1. Come in, shouted Brian Wecht, following the third insistent knock on his dressing room door. Brian never liked to be disturbed right before a show, since that was when he got his best research in theoretical physics done, with the pre-performance adrenaline coursing through his bloodstream. He could do routine mathematical calculations all day long, and frequently did. But it was always immediately prior to an arena show that he came up with his best ideas. The Wecht equation, the Wecht theorem, and even the Wecht proposal. Those had all come to him within a half hour before walking on stage, with the noise of the assembling crowd thrumming in the background. After a pause, the door suddenly opened. A slender, well-dressed young white woman was standing there, her tight frame accenting her big, chunky glasses, which in turn accented both of her breasts. She had bright brown eyes, and a shock of brown dyed into her platinum brown hair. Her tight brown pants sat right below her tight brown lace top, and she sported 2 tight brown boots, one on each foot. Hello, Dr. Wecht, she said. My name is Desdemona Duncan. I'm sorry to interrupt you right before your show, but you come highly recommended, and I'm afraid this can't wait. Brian slowly got up, maintaining eye contact with Desdemona. Charmed, I'm sure, he purred, reaching for her hand. That's all I got.
We were talking about this via text, and you made a really good, perfect Dan Brown joke about her last name being Duncan, like the donuts. What?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So what I have not yet written was her name, as I've spelled it here, is Dunkin. And at some point, Brian Wecht will say, oh, Duncan, like the donuts. And she'll say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because she's so cultured.
Yes.
And slender and would never touch
a donut. She's like a PhD computer scientist from Boston, but has never heard of Dunkin' Donuts.
That's even better.
Yeah,
Because,
she works at MIT.
if
Yeah,
she
please.
liked Dunkin' Donuts, it would be important for you to introduce her wait first, as all women exist in Dan Brown's universe.
Yeah, she works at the MIT lab for discrete computer science and has a joint appointment with MIT and Harvard.
I need a joint appointment after this shit.
Yeah, I think. Well, knowing you had several joint appointments previously.
Fact check, Brian. I am unfortunately stone cold sober for this. You know,
Which is, I say without judgment.
well, that was a great clip.
Supposedly, I should mark these off. Which ones we've done?
You should. We might as well roll into another clip about fan fiction, which is this is the one that I did write. Which is when we were reading Ready Player One. I wrote, "Press any button." It's a real love letter to
Ready now, this
Player
is
One.
actually the one I was thinking of before because you really did this was above and beyond.
This is the kind of thing that can only come out of me when fueled by total rage and disdain, and I think that good art really comes from that place. So here's me reading the overly.
Well, hold on. I want to set it up a little bit more first.
Sure, whatever. We have other clips from each of these book episodes that we'll talk about, so it's not like this is the definitive.
No, that's true, but it's the first time we're talking. I want to get it just a little bit into it. So
Okay, God.
What now that kind of attitude I don't need right now. So listen, young lady, I'll turn this podcast around.
Nope, drawing a line.
You don't like that? Listen, young lady.
You're not giving me a listen, young lady, on my own pod.
I think I've never said to even my own daughter.
Exactly.
Young lady.
Ugh.
My own daughter, who routinely now walks by me and just goes, "Bitch."
Good. She's doing the Lord's work.
Oh, it's so funny.
What else did you want to say to set up this clip, Brian?
All I wanted to say is that our second bad book that we read this year was Ready Player One by
Wasn't it Breaking Dawn?
Oh my God. We did 3 books this year. You're right. Fuck.
Yep.
I can't remember the order now. But yes, another bad book. How about that? Since you're such a stickler for accuracy here. Another bad book. And can we say bad? We can say bad. We say it in the episode title. We read this year was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, the prequel to Ready Player Two. And in this book, a young gunter named Parsifal goes on a rather erotic quest of self-discovery through the Oasis.
And becomes the best gunter in the world.
The best gunter in the world, just gunting everywhere, which we may talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so this is, you were so inspired by Ernest Cline's writing.
By hatred. And
you thought, if a master of the form like Ernest Cline can do this, surely I, Leighton Gray, can do this as well. And you, as they say, if you come for the king, you best not piss. And every year on Christmas Eve with...
Very good.
Right?
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you. And you is it fair to say
I
that
pissed.
You pissed all over the place, and
all over Ernest Cline. He deserves it. So.
Yeah. So this is your attempt to top what he accomplished in Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, I topped Ernest Cline.
Hell yeah, you did.
And I'll roll the clip. This is called Press Any Button by Leighton Gray. Part 1. And just like Ernest Cline, I'd like to start with a quote. "Do you want to date my avatar? She's a star, and she's hotter than reality by far." Felicia Day, 2009. After I had easily dispatched all of the big ugly monsters that had descended on my avatar the moment I teleported to the planet Cyberpunkia, I took a deep breath and enjoyed the view. Dozens of replicas of CD Projekt Red's Night City sparkled on the horizon in the distance. With the high-tech upgrades I had made to my full-body gaming rig, the interior fans made the sweat I had accumulated from 16 hours straight of gaming in the simulation feel exactly like a cool sea breeze. My digital assistant took the form of Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk 2077, and he had all of the serious tood he did in the original game. But he was also programmed to do extra helpful tasks like answering my fan mail for me, laughing at all my jokes, and showering me with compliments on my curvaceous physique and gamer knowledge. I had him turned off for the time being because I couldn't let his digitally enhanced dump truck ass and constant sexual overtures distract me from the quest I was on. It was the only quest that mattered. The hunt for the ruby amulet, created by the designer of Mirage herself, Schmaten Frey. Frey was the world's sexiest and richest and most famous game developer, and I was her most diehard fan. Everything she liked, I did too, which made me very cool and really good at solving the clues she had hidden all throughout the simulation before she died tragically young by choking on a strawberry Uncrustable that she tried to eat in one bite. Her will stipulated that the first gamer to prove themselves pure of heart and fat of ass by solving her series of devious clues that only the smartest gamers would understand would inherit her lavish fortune. I had dedicated my previous 5 years solely to molding my taste in media to hers, obsessively deep diving into the media properties she loved instead of developing her own personality. It was a pretty neat way to get around developing one of my own. And it turns out people like me way better when I just parrot phrases they also know with them, like when a dog sees another dog on TV. Because she grew up in the early 2000s, all popular culture was dedicated to endlessly regurgitating all of the stuff that made the naughty oddies so great, like low-rise jeans and war crimes. Returning to the game, I pulled out my lovingly crafted 3D version of the original Pip-Boy 2000s from Fallout 1 and 2, the most aesthetically pleasing Pip-Boy design in the Fallout series, Natch, which I had designated as my primary interface with Mirage. From the tiny screen on my wrist, I could pull up not only the in-game radio stations from each entry in the series, along with all the modded ones, but also every song and podcast ever recorded to jam to as I adventured across the land. Of course, my main playlist consisted of Radiohead's entire discography, and I knew each and every lyric by heart. I had listened to Creep alone over 450,000 times. This was a big reason why most of the avatars on Mirage wanted to have sex with me. I mean, my avatar. This is still going. We're not even... I stood on the bow of my tricked-out ship, which I named the Stugats as a cheeky tip of the hat to one of Frey's favorite shows, The Sopranos. It was a treacherous journey to the mainland, but I had cast a magic spell on my ship that protected it from any harm and also made it fly and shoot lasers. With a flip of her long purple hair, my avatar entered her idle animation. Hips stuck out as she lit a huge cyberweed blunt coolly and blew smoke rings into the air. I watched from the rotating third-person vanity cam as I busied myself in my HUD, shuffling through my many new, unread messages from other players, because by this point, I was super popular and everyone liked me. No longer was I some level 1 nobody who couldn't even take out bokoblins by myself. A bokoblin is a kind of opponent, or enemy, as a gamer would call them, in the little-known Legend of Zelda video games. Just as a testament to the gaming knowledge that made me soar to the top of the charts in Mirage, I can tell you how only true gamers like me knew that the main character of the classic games is not, in fact, named Zelda. It was a really embarrassing when people got that wrong. A super easy way to find the noobs in the crowd, who everyone in the immediate area would murder instantly with their big awesome anime swords while the stupid noobs screamed for mercy. That was just a regular day for me in Mirage, which stands for the multiplayer immersive rage-fueled gaming experience. The rage part was a clever nod to the season's video gamers, one word, tendency to rage quit when emotions ran too high and commit violence against the console or PC on which they game, typically after being pwned. Me, I'd never rage quit in my life. Sure, I can get really upset at a game I'm playing, like when Alistair rejected me in the instant classic Dragon Age Origins 2009, just because I was playing as a Dalish elf and thus was punished for the aforementioned origin I chose at the beginning of the game, and then foolishly didn't choose a single dialogue choice in the middle of my campaign that would have saved me from this fate. You can imagine my frustration. Did the mechanical grinding our characters engaged in during low-poly tent sex I prayed my parents wouldn't walk in on mean nothing to him? For a virgin like me, that was the closest I had ever gotten to feeling the touch of another human, and I only cried for a few hours. But still, I didn't quit. I might have gone on a very long, soul-searching walk after I was dumped by the most likable straight white man in gaming, and may or may not have punched a hole in the wall, but I didn't quit. That's for noobs, not a hardcore gamer girl like me. I trolled all the forums dedicated to Frey's interests and the hunt for the ruby amulet, and was a moderator on several of them. So naturally, I was revered as a god on the interwebs. My knowledge of the sacred text could fill multiple encyclopedias, and I had, in fact, written several that were published. And not like self-publishing on Mirages on either. Like actually for real published on paper. I got straight A's in school and also had a photographic memory that really came in handy on my adventures. But it didn't hurt. But it didn't hurt that I was really smart too, and clever. As I said, I got straight A's in school. Usually when I came up with a particularly witty retort during arguments, people would actually stand up and clap as whoever tried to challenge my prodigious knowledge of David Lynch's oeuvre slunk away with their tails between their legs. Oftentimes literally, because for some reason Mirage had a lot of furries. Those furries and regular people all over the world were obsessed with the quest for the legendary ruby amulet. The dedicated people chasing after this prize needed a way to distinguish themselves, so they came up with the pithy nickname Rubbers. The people in the so-called real world who looked down on our enthusiasm used a nasty epithet for us instead, rubes. But if any of these posers stepped into the world of Mirage and tried to start shit, they would have their asses swiftly handed to them by an army of gamers ready to gun them down with their coolest, most badassest guns, of which I have many. IMHO, gamer lingo you wouldn't understand. The real rubes were the ones who refused to engage in life's ultimate pleasure, sitting inside while you watch anime girls with fat asses running around hitting each other with swords. Also, God isn't real. So yes, it was tough being a part of the most oppressed class in our very real dystopia. But to true gamers like us, being a rubber was a badge of honor and way better than being a noob or a normie. Hanging out in Mirage with other rubbers was one of the few things that made my dull, boring, dangerous life outside of Mirage bearable, where at any second I could be attacked by drug-addled murderers. It was a blast just getting together in pitch-perfect Y2K replicas of Claire's and Hot Topics with like-minded gamers to watch movies, play Nintendogs for the Nintendo DS, open a million tabs of TV tropes, or argue about the riddles in the sacred texts. We even had an awesome code name for what we did together. Rubbing one out. It's pretty cool that we were the first ones to ever come up with that phrase, and we used it as a secret passcode to identify each other IRL. This is more lingo only real gamers will get. One moment, I need to...
Yeah, get drunk, okay?
I am perfectly sober, Brian.
Mm-hmm. I'm the most sober person here.
My ringtone for incoming calls in Mirage was a MIDI file of Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River 2002. The exact same one Frey's mom had on her silver Razor flip phone when she was a kid in the early 2000s. The one proper decade where nothing bad ever happened and every piece of media that came out was solid gold because it came out when Frey was a kid, like Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River. The sound file overlapped with itself infinitely as my auto screener filtered out the hundreds of potential suitors trying to video call me, all of whom were ruinously obsessed with my avatar. Some of them had custom shirts and everything. And who could blame them? I was at the top of the high score list, which made me better than the rest of the lowly rubbers who couldn't even get past Frey's first portal, which had been child's play for me, like the movie, which I also knew by heart. My avatar was everywhere since I had signed endorsement deals with all of the hottest companies that gamers love, like Cheetos and Raytheon. This also meant I was a millionaire because people saw me in ads everywhere, so they all knew who I was, and I was recognized and given high fives constantly. This gave me plenty of disposable income to spend on as much revealing armor and flying cars and awesome swords and Mirage as I wanted. My avatar was quickly taking the virtual world by storm. Did I mention that she's a wood elf who is also a vampire with glowing pink eyes, cybernetic enhancements, and just like an absolutely huge fucking rack? This is important to the story. In the real world, I was just a girl living in the attic of a family of 5, siphoning off of their network and also any food they left out in their trash can. I gaslit them into thinking the weird noises they sometimes heard from the attic was just a nest of rats. And boy, was I surprised when one day I found myself breathing in pesticides they were pumping into the attic with industrial fans. Breaking Bad reference.
Mm-hmm.
I think I only got some mild brain damage from that. And I also only got some mild brain damage from that. I didn't have to worry about it too much because shortly afterwards, the home I was living in was hit by a targeted drone strike sent by people who were jealous of my gaming skills that killed the entire family. It's a good thing I was actually 2 miles away. Casually toning out with some Built to Spill songs, like the really proggy live versions, in Guitar Center, where all the old guys were complimenting me on my sick bass riffs and asking me how I got so good when I only started playing like 2 months ago. I'm just a natural, I guess. R.I.P. to the Smiths and their dog, though. To die by your side, indeed, right? Haha, that's just one of my little obscure references. Anyway. Mirage was super cool, and I spent all of my free time in it, trying to find the elusive ruby amulet that would make me the most powerful gamer in the world. But there was another competing tech conglomerate with their eyes on the ruby prize, Enhanced Virtual Interactive Life, or EVIL for short. Pronounced like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies, Goldmember being the pinnacle of early 2000s comedy, of course. Their CEO was a scary and ugly-looking man in a pinstripe suit, an Italian mafioso hat, and big cigar, like characters in David Chase's hit HBO drama The Sopranos, starring James Gandolfini, Michael Imperioli, Edie Falco, Jamie Lynn Siegler, the smoking hot Lorraine Bracco, and Steven Van Zandt. Tony Sirico, Steve Sharippa, Vincent Pastore, Drea De Matteo, Robert Eiler, Steve Buscemi, and Lin-Manuel Miranda for 2 seconds, which I've watched front to back nearly 69 times. The evil CEO's name was Mr. Max Cruelty, and he was trying to kill me because I was too good at gaming in the Mirage. Max Cruelty wanted to find the ruby amulet for himself so he could take control of Mirage and turn it into a liberal hellscape where the only media you were allowed to consume was the Twilight books or movies, which are yucky and for girls. Not me, though, since I'm different. The end.
Wow. That was incredible. That might be the best thing we've ever done on this show.
Amazing.
A high point in literature. Now, would you ever consider...
Literature.
Comparative literature. We're going to get into that.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Would you ever consider actually writing this book?
No. I will write things as dumb bits, but I think that 1,500 words or whatever is probably the max I'm willing to commit to that particular bit.
Yeah, so I love this. I thought you did such a great job with it, and
Thank you.
I have to say, you know what? This was a here. We're gonna restart this segment here. Boom. I have to say, I love this piece. This year for our podcast, I believe, is the first time we have really done, like, for want of a better word, scripted things. Right? I can't remember in the past. I'm sure we've done small things like this, but as many like pre-written bits that we deployed on the show.
And I'm thinking of one in particular that you did that was very impactful.
Well, yeah, indeed, we're going to get into that. I think that's the next one we should do here. Another really, really a thing that I'm going to hate to say it, particularly proud of this one because I think I should get into my headspace of where I was when I conceived. So the thing we're going to do now is this is from episode 232. No guest, again, just us, because I knew it had to be just us to do this.
Yes.
I wrote a list of my sexual activities and decided that I needed to shoehorn it into an episode as a funny thing. It was a very long list that my goal was to spring it on you and have you gradually realize what I was doing as I did it. And that is, I believe, what happened. As you can tell when you listen to this bit, at first you start to talk like we're doing our normal show. And then you realize, something different, something a little left of center, like the opposite of my politics, is happening here.
Yeah.
And
as I say in the clip, I really, for probably way longer than I should have, I assumed it was completely off the dome, and that you had just gone into a fugue state.
Yeah, I wish, it's a few minutes long, probably something like that. I feel like I could do a bunch of that off the dome, but not as well and not as funny.
Yeah, not as well structured.
Structured. Talk about the shit hitting the fan. Get it? Struck turd.
Yeah, I get it.
That's the kind of stuff that happens when I do it off the dome, right? Mm-hmm. It's not exactly comedy gold, but when I have time to plan it out, it can be very good. So this is from episode 232. This is my list of things that I'm into sexually.
Do you want to talk about the emails that we keep getting?
I do, but I'd like to talk more about my sexual predilections first.
They're going to send you that. This is why they're sending the emails.
They might be. They might be. I don't know, because I'm actually, I don't think people know this about me, but I'm into some pretty weird shit. I mean, it's not actually that weird. It's like normal stuff, like mer play, reverse edging, dongle play.
What's reverse edging?
Cuckolding, old cucking.
I'm dying to know what reverse edging is.
BDILYSM. It's dominance, like dominant sevenths. Erotic asphyxiations. Foot stuff. Inch stuff. Yard stuff. Just kind of in general metric play. I'm pretty into humdingers. Cod swalloping. Gobsmacking. Hornswoggling. Absquatulation. Admonition. Something I like to call appreciative micturation. Scanner play. Online bill play. Manual nostril stimulation. Orgasm insurance. Pterodactyphilia. Brontophilia. Stegophilia. Sensual spelunking. Cultural panthropology. Comparative cliterature. Creative writhing. Bondage. Tauntondage. Unearthed arcana. Spell jamming. Freejacking. I love freejacking. Pogging. Morse play. Math play. One-act play. Dough play. Yo play. Wonka play. Play. Consensual bad massage. Fly fishing. Hedging. Dredging. Ledging. Heath ledging. Smellatio. Grogging. Glee play. Google play. Apple CarPlay. Crosplay, and that's where you dress up like David Crosby and the other person dresses up like someone else from CSNY. Deezering. High butt pleasure. Non-diegetic nipple stimulation. Crafting. Fast travel. Story mode. Single player. Double player. Triple player. Multiplayer. Knee stuff. And vor. And that's the stuff I'm into. You know, among other things.
Brian, sometimes you just have to sit back and watch the master at work.
Well, that's actually one of my things as well.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Did I play that for Rachel? That's a good question. I think I did. I usually play my favorite bits from the show for her because Lord knows she doesn't listen. Yeah. She hears enough of my bullshit as it is. The last person who needs to be subjected to, 90 to 120 minutes of me talking bullshit for, every week is my long-suffering and much deserving wife.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, expect she's going to text you, I think, at some point about, she said she's going to try to schedule another tea with you.
A high tea. Very
tea.
exciting.
Yeah. When you, and you know what I mean? High tea, like.
No. It's the kissy part that made that even worse.
Well, I guess that's right. It's not smoke. Why was I kissing my finger?
That's how you smoke weed.
I love you, weed. It makes
very Italian of you.
Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. What can you say? What's the name of the Tim Robinson character? The driver who has the thing painted on the window, and he pretends he's smoking the cigar.
I don't know.
God, what was it? The driving something.
There are a lot of driving sketches in that show.
There are a lot of driving sketches. So he pulls up to he's got I think he's driving a friend home or something, and he pulls up to a stoplight and suddenly he starts making, blah, blah, yeah, things like that. And then it cuts to a side shot where on the window of the car is like a cigar and a hat or something. And it's part of a character he does when he pulls up next to people. Yeah. Now, I think I should do more of these.
I agree, but don't force it.
I would Leighton, who are you talking to here? I would never force comedy on somebody. A thing that I do to my child every day.
Yeah. Well, okay, this wasn't a pre-written bit, but I have to say one of your finest comedy moments this year.
Oh, I have no idea where this is going. Okay.
This was actually, I believe, not on a main feed episode, but it became a main feed episode because it was part of a 2 minis, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
But this is from episode 218, and the clip is just titled Brian's Art Appreciation.
Yes.
I thought this was a great moment from you.
What I got to say, my go-to thing is go to the local art museums. You know this about me.
I do.
Because I have the LACMA membership, and a lot of them I get in free because it's a reciprocity thing. But if not, if it's not on, it's not on the thing, but it's a dope local museum, I will go to it. And I've seen some really great art museums, some of which I've been to before, but some of which I haven't. So,
how many pieces of art have you jerked off in front of on this tour?
Well, in front of mentally or in front of physically?
Physically. Mentally, you and I both know as patrons of the arts, that's a nigh constant. That's a baseline.
Well, let's just say nobody's caught me yet, because here's the thing. I'm fast. In every sense of the word. I get there quick and then I run away. And I'm prepared. That's the other thing.
That is really the ultimate MO of a serial masturbator.
Yep. You got to be prepared. Like you
get
can't
get out.
You have to know. Here's the trick: is you have to know what the security guards look like, because they're different in every museum. So you can't just, and this is a rookie move, you can't just walk into a museum and find the first piece of art you see and start jerking off in front of it. That's going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to.
Mistake.
Absolutely. What you got to do is you go in the museum, you take a little stroll around. Also, you got to find the one that speaks to you, right? So you go in, you scope it out, you see what the security guards look like. Now, bear in mind, you're not looking for who the actual people are. You're looking for kind of the uniform they wear, right? So, because people will change. Somebody will be sitting in a room, you walk away from it, then it's a different person. They go through shifts. So if you're looking for a specific person, that can really bite you in the ass in the long run, right? So what you got to do is you look for the uniform, and then you wander around. You find the one that's going to be the one. You know what I'm talking about here,
right?
And then you go for it. And the problem is you have to concentrate on the art at the same time as keeping peripheral vision is everything when it comes to this particular game.
Right. And it's disrespectful to the art if you're not paying most of your attention.
Should be 90-10 split. 90 on the art, 10 on your peripheral vision, making sure you're not going to get caught. Now you need the supplies, I'm not going to tell people how to do their jobs, but is it a tissue? Is it a little cup? Is it
an
a pamphlet?
apparatus?
I don't know. Yeah, indeed. Those are harder to smuggle in, but I promise you it's worth it if you get the right one. And then
gift
you
shops
go for
can
it.
be a great resource.
And listen, it does, it is a job. So if we're looking at more than 60 seconds, that's going to be a problem. And I know it's not always going to be a problem, but it will eventually be a problem. So you have to reliably go from 0 to 60 in 60. That's the rule of thumb that we say. As a public serial masturbator, you go 0 to 60 in 60. That's the way we know it. Look on the forums. Everybody says it. It's practically a mantra, okay? And then you got to get out. You got to get out of there because they do have cameras, right? There are a lot of things happening in art museums. This is also why you wear a mask. You should always bring some kind of mask or head covering because the museums talk amongst themselves, right?
Right.
So once one, especially in the same city, if you're in the same city and you're going to visit 2 museums in a day, it's better to do that fast, it's better doing the same day than space it out.
Boom, boom.
One, yeah, that's
Before
right.
they even have time to think about it, you came and you went and you came and
That's
you also
exactly
went.
right. Yep. So I mean, I hope these tips help people who are looking to get into this business. It is, it's risky, but it's worth it. You'll make some memories that last a lifetime, is what I can promise you. And if you need advice, I am a resource. I take my mentorship duties very, very seriously. So feel free to reach out on any of the public forums. You know me, I'm ArtJerk420, and you can just DM me any questions you have.
Bravo.
Thank you. So anyway, the Phoenix Art Museum was pretty great.
Now, not because obviously legal culpability is a big thing in this hobby / business / industry. I don't want to ask you directly, but if you were to jerk it in the Phoenix Museum, which would you have chosen?
Well,
What
actually,
exhibit?
there
What
there
piece?
was. I wish I could remember the name of the artist. There was a whole a whole photography exhibit
Ooh.
of someone who was just taking pictures of herself and other women naked in the woods.
All right.
So, I
That
mean, here's another tip. Take the same approach. You gotta let the art do some of the work for you, right? If we all love abstract expressionism. That's
mhm.
going to be a challenge. Like if
Okay,
you need to.
you're telling me you've never done it in front of a Rothko. A big angry red square doesn't turn you on.
Oh, it definitely does.
All right, thank you. But not everything can be a Rothko.
Not everything. If you like,
I'm learning,
here's a good
Brian.
example. Clifford Still. That's a challenge for me personally.
Right.
Giant canvases, big drippy blobs, and I know you'd think that's what you're creating with this, but no, it's not the same thing.
What's your stance on like Renaissance, like Christian Renaissance art?
What's my stance? Wide for that one.
Okay, yeah, I mean there are variations
Yeah.
involved.
Okay, bit over. Well, not bit because I don't do bits, but
It's not a bit, it's a lifestyle, Brian, and you
that's
should know that.
exactly. Yeah, well, it's a job at this point. I am sponsored.
By who?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Lee. So I'm sponsored by Dove Body Lotion. Unscented, of course.
Scented rookie mistake.
Yeah, you get a little cut and it's all over with scented. You gotta go unscented. Look, it's yes, it's just skin, but you gotta treat it right.
I mean, there was the one guy who got caught because the security guards like would smell the cherry blossom coming. Like you can't use Bath and Body Works lotion, guys.
No,
Doesn't work.
that stuff's garbage anyway.
I mean, it seemed like it was a bit of a like part of it for him was that it was kind of a calling card, but the point of the calling card is that it's there after you're gone, not as you're actively doing it.
Yeah, you don't. This is definitely one of those occupations where you don't want a signature scent. Now, that's not to say you can't leave a signature mark, but as you say, you don't want them to smell you coming, literally.
Yeah. What is it? Take only pictures, leave only jism.
Yeah, leave only tissues.
If I could physically get up without the use of my crutches, which are kind of halfway across the room right now, I would get up and leave. I'm stuck
That's
here.
a powerful statement. Um,
Thank you. If I was physically able, I would walk away.
this is,
Not even from you, from me for enabling this. Hey, maybe would you like a carrot?
All right, that's that clip, and not having heard it,
You totally know what the clip is.
I have no idea what this is.
It's about you jerking off in art museums.
Oh yes, oh yes, that's right. Now I remember. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not just a hobby; it's also a lifestyle. I probably said something similar to that.
I think you might have said that verbatim.
Yeah, but what can I say? I have a style, I have a brand, and I'm sticking to it. Now, there's one clip in this folder that I have, like, everything about this screams, you got to listen to this. And I'm referring to the one that is from episode 223, Breaking Dawn, which is simply labeled Vampire Sex.
What more can
Now,
be said?
yeah, I think I know where this one is going. I think I remember talking about this. Is this what it would be like? Oh, this is where we talk about what it would be like to fuck a vampire, right?
Well, there's a certain sex scene in Breaking Dawn that I believe that we're discussing in this bit.
Yes. Okay, great. From episode 223, here's vampire sex.
The ways in which this book sucks are boring and
That's
embarrassing.
100% true. Yes, this was not fun to read.
The thing I was going to jump on is like, look, I know the vampires have powers. They, this family has been together for hundreds of years. They are all so obsessed with each other's sex lives and
Oh my
like
God.
clothing.
Yes.
Bitch, I don't want my sister-in-law being like, did you guys destroy that entire house? Fucking.
Yeah, constantly. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, okay, let's talk about the fucking. Definitely, it would be hard to have less hot sex scenes, and because there aren't sex scenes.
No,
There
they're
are
fade to
sex scenes
black.
that are skipped around, and then So okay, the first time they fuck, she's still a human, and this was just insane to me from a character perspective. Edward's like, I'm scared. I might hurt you. She's like, don't worry about it. You'll be careful. Okay. Because Bella, by the way, the number one thing that bothered me about this book is there were no problems that weren't immediately solved through the easiest means possible. And the easiest means possible was like, or is it wasn't a problem for her because she's special, because she's amazing.
Yes.
Every potential problem is then just solved by, well, I guess she's kind of the best, right?
Or all problems are completely arbitrary. So much of the
Yes.
conflict, and it's the same in the other ones too. It's just like these two characters hate each other because question mark.
Yep.
So much of it is about, like, especially in the first book and throughout the whole thing, Edward does this overprotective thing where he's like, no, I might hurt you.
Right. And he does that. So he does that here too before they fuck. She wants to fuck him once as a human okay, that seems like a valid reason. Like,
yeah,
I'm still human, so I can experience it as a human. I can understand that motivation. Sure. Now, I had to pick up, by the way, that vampires were like super strong and all this other stuff.
And
they
run really fast, and
they run really fast. Their skin, yeah, exactly. Well, and their skin is like made out of stone or something.
Right.
So I can understand. I want to experience you once as a human before you turn me. Sure. You know what? You have eternity. By the way, what happens when the sun goes supernova? I'm curious about that, but whatever.
Footnote that for later, because we're going to come back to it.
So you have eternity to fuck as vampires. Give me one night as a human. Yeah. You know what? I'm on board. Sure. Sounds great. Then they fuck, and she emerges the next morning with bruises all over her body, and like gradually discovers it. And Edward is rightfully horrified because he has hurt the person he loves. And she was like, that was rad. Let's do it again. I was like, what the fuck is going? You, by all accounts, almost died because this guy fucks so good that he almost fucked you too good. He's, by the way, there's not to be the one to say this, but he could just stick it in a little bit, and then they fucked. And then it's like, you don't need to go nuts when one person has super strength and the other doesn't. Like, you can, there are other things you can do. If you need to technically check that box, there are other things you can do that don't involve getting almost killed.
Yes. Yeah. I do agree with that. And it's the whole wedding and setup to the wedding. And of course, Bella's primary traits are that she's clumsy, she hates girly things, and she's just
Oh, I
so
didn't pick up on the hates
upset.
girly things at all. That was not present for me.
I
in
mean
this book.
that's kind of like her whole, she's a tomboy and she's like her
Oh,
single father's
didn't
child.
pick up on that.
And Jacob is like a mechanic, and hold on, I need my red lighting back. There we go.
Yeah.
And she's into that, and it's sexy because Jacob rides a motorcycle, if I remember the earlier books correctly. And she cooks her dad breakfast, and her dad's like a gruff guy. But when in the build up to the wedding, where she's like, I'm really nervous, I don't want to see the dress, I don't want to see what like Alice is making me up as.
Yeah.
Like, that is pretty tired. Like, fucking whatever. Okay. Just so irritating. I mean, Bella Swan is a classic Mary Sue self-insert character.
Obviously, yes.
The problem is that when you do a self-insert character like that, it is uninteresting if they are good and perfect at everything intrinsically.
Again, the one thing that I was shocked wasn't mentioned was what a great writer Bella is.
Right. I mean, there's a classic thing in the first Twilight book where she's saying, I was listening to music from my favorite band, but then doesn't say what the band is, which I do. What I appreciate? That this book is dedicated to the band Muse.
Bladen, I'm looking at it right now. That's one of my highlights right there.
Yeah, it was my very
dedicated
first
to
highlight.
The band Muse.
And classic in the movie Twilight, Muse's supermassive black hole, which I can never not hear as supermassive asshole, is played during a fun baseball scene. The soundtrack for the movie is great. It's very of its time. Anyway,
here's this. Here's my main thing about this book. Everything, I have no sense of time. Everything happens so quickly. It just flits from one thing to the next. And there are no stakes or sense of development whatsoever. It's just like, I had no idea how long things were taking. It was the ultimate example of tell, don't show. It's like, it just, everything suddenly, it's like, there's a threat. Suddenly it's here. Suddenly it's solved. On to the next thing. And there's the one place where that's kind of not true is towards the end when the Voltari are going to show up and people dither on and on and on about how terrible this is going to be, except for taking hours-long fuck breaks in the cottage. So their lives are threatened. They have a new baby also, right? Who's getting raised by ? The other Cullens, I guess, Jacob, I don't know. And they're like, pardon us, we're going to go fuck. And it is explicitly noted how they might all die. So they better take time to go fuck, which fine. Look, great. If you know you're going to die, go fuck. I don't care. But it seems like they are fucking for 10 hours a night or something like that while they're waiting for these other Italian vampires to show up.
What else?
That's right. They don't have to sleep. That's why Edward is so good at musical instruments and can speak all the languages and blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so we got to back up a little bit because immediately she's getting married like next day after being nervous about telling her father. Her father is ? Cool with it.
Yeah.
They do the wedding. It's perfect, magical, whatever. They go to a honeymoon where she doesn't know where they're going.
To Fuck Island, yes.
To Fuck Island, where her sister-in-law has packed a ton of sexy lingerie for her. They get there, they fuck, she gets all bruised up, Edward, the room's covered in feathers because Edward was tearing pillows apart while fucking her, I guess.
You have to. No, trust me. Look, you have to do that. That's just part of it.
To sate the urges. A vampire has instincts much like a dog having a prey drive, where if you give them a piece of toilet paper or tissue, they will tear it to shreds.
Look, if you put a pillow in front of me while I'm fucking, that pillow's gone. I mean, I'm going to tear it in half because the animal side of your brain just takes over. You have to. You can't control a man. That's for sure.
So they do that while they're on Fuck Island. Bella discovers that she's pregnant.
The first time they fuck, she's pregnant. They didn't use protection because why would they? I guess.
I mean,
They're-
it does bring up. I remember this being the big argument at the time of like, well, if they don't have blood flowing through their body, like, how can you even get it up? And it's like we're establishing that they're hard as rock everywhere else.
Oh, that's a good point. They
So
don't
I guess
have blood.
is he just permanently rock
So,
hard?
How do you get a bone? Okay. Now this is a
Exactly,
good question.
right?
How do you get a bone? No, but you could argue this for everything. Like, how does anything in your body work?
Yeah.
If if suddenly you're not breathing, you don't have blood, all the normal shit isn't happening. I don't know. The boner thing is the least of my worries in terms of plausibility.
He is so worried about hurting her, and yet neither of them think about protection.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? Okay, the other thing that becomes clear later in the book is there is a super ban on vampire children, right? On immortal babies or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Is this from the other books, or did they just mention this in this one?
I forget. I think the newborn vampire thing that they keep referring to is in one of the other books.
Okay, so there's a super ban on vampire babies. Nobody thinks, including the guy who doesn't sleep and has nothing but time to think about stuff. Nobody thinks, hey, if we fuck, she might get pregnant. Now, okay, I mean, it's like also, if they don't have blood, that guy got jizz? Does he have little fangy sperms flying around? I don't know. I guess so. It must be
what
something like
fluid?
that.
Where is the fluid?
By the way, yeah, thank you. There's lots of that. Wow. What a bit.
We really learned a lot from that one.
I think we did. What do you think that bit was about?
I think that bit was about the meaning of Christmas.
Which we've already established.
Yeah, the meaning of
Christmas.
Christmas is that, but also vampire sex.
Yeah, this is Bella and Edward getting down to it, right?
Yeah.
Before she's a vampire, though, right?
Right, because he doesn't want to hurt her. Are we just recapping the clip that we didn't listen to?
I'm trying to
everyone
remember
just
what it's
heard?
about. That's yeah. You know how it goes. And he's being extra gentle, right? But she still gets bruised.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you remind me, you read this when you were a child?
I
some version of this?
read a few of them when I was a child, but like from the perspective of a hater. I had never read Breaking Dawn until now. I'd seen the movies.
That's right.
But
Now I'm remembering.
yeah, kind of
were there-
impossible to avoid for a while there.
Are there sex scenes in the other books?
No, I don't think so. For
Mm-hmm.
the exact reasons that he's so nervous about hurting her.
Well, this is what I was going to ask, right? So, and it takes them a while to like get together anyway, right?
Yeah. There's a will they, won't they, and
With her and Jacob.
yeah, and then they do. And she's the most powerful of the bad books that we read this year. That one was the hardest to like physically read.
Absolutely, by 1,000,000%. I said many times, I don't think Ready Player One is good. I had a great time reading it. Angels and Demons, harder for me to read than Ready Player One, but still fun. A real page turner. Breaking Dawn was a fucking slog, and I can't think of a single thing I liked about it, honestly.
I was going like 75 miles per hour through the last 50 pages or something. I mean, it was a chore to have to pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick up my phone to read it. It's just not good.
Yeah. Well, I read it on one of my many, many iPads. It's Minority Report style, where I surround myself. I have about 12 of them, and I've got different books on each one, and I'm like Tom Cruising.
You're beautiful minding it.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I think that the next
yes.
time that we do a bad book club, we should be even meaner about the people who wrote them.
Is that possible? We were pretty mean to Stephanie Meyer.
I don't think we were that mean. I think we were meaner to Ernest Cline and also to Dan Brown.
I guess that's true.
This
I
tendency of ours has certainly alienated certain listeners.
I love punching down. What can I say?
Yeah. You love Punching Brown?
Now that is a good name for a Dan Brown hater podcast. Punching Brown.
I think we should do another edition of Punching Brown. There's so many other Dan Brown books that I want you to read. I really want us to read Deception Point.
Right.
which is what he clucked ruefully is from, as we discussed.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, should that be the next one we do? I feel like I want to do another one by an
People
author
we've
we
done
haven't
already.
read yet. Yeah.
Were we talking about doing the cider house rules?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
The cider house sucks.
Sucks. Yep. That would be an interesting one.
See, I would do book episodes as frequently as the audience would let us, because I love that.
Now, here's a question. Does it always have to be fiction? What if it's like a bad biography or autobiography?
That's true. But I feel like the ones that we would have to go for would be like uber topical, and that's just not really.
It seems less fun, right?
To
do a nonfiction. Yeah.
Yes, I'd rather personally attack the author of a work of fiction rather than attack them for their.
Well, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. I know people have said this too. There's a whole thread about this, and I just can't remember what any of the options are. What about if we found a really bad novelization of a movie? Like The Godfather.
Well, you know that The Godfather is... Yeah,
I was kidding. Yes.
All right. Well, since we're talking about this, we should throw up some of these other clips, because I would say that most of these clips in this folder are from our Bad Book Club episodes.
Yeah, why don't you, let's see, what do we got here? Maybe a couple, any quickies? Here's a really short one from Or Your Demon. This is the Cindy Crawford thing.
Sure, yes.
Great. Okay, everybody listen to this. I don't even know what it is, but here it is. Yeah.
I need to find the Velvet Whirlwind quote, because that one is maybe the worst offender. No, that's not true. Langdon is in he's in a crypt or whatever the fuck. Skeletons by firelight, he grimaced wryly.
Oh, hold on. Skeletons by Firelight is my new Halloween single. That's dropping in 3 months.
Just, first of all, grimaced wryly. Brian, can you grimace wryly? Okay. All right. Fair.
Wait, well, actually, let me think. What is a... No.
Because when I think of a grimace, if I'm thinking of a grimace, I'm thinking like teeth bared. Like,
okay.
That's a grimace?
I don't know.
But Riley? That's not even a joke. It's like this whole bit. Think about why Dan Brown would have written this passage. And if you can give me a reason other than because it made him feel clever, I will give you $10. I don't mean that, but, you know, a rhetorical, have it on faith, as characters in this book are oft encouraged to do. Anyway. Skeletons by Firelight, he grimaced wryly, realizing he had quite coincidentally endured a similar evening just last month, an evening of bones and flames. The New York Museum of Archaeology's candlelight
I wouldn't mind
benefit.
One of those, am I right?
The New York Museum of Archaeology's candlelight benefit.
Oh, yes,
dinner.
yes. I know exactly the passage you're talking about.
Salmon flambe in the shadow of a brontosaurus skeleton. He had attended at the invitation of Rebecca Strauss.
Yep.
One-time fashion model, now art critic from the Times. A whirlwind of black velvet, cigarettes, and not so subtly enhanced breasts. She'd called him twice since. Langdon had not returned her calls. Most ungentlemanly, he chided, wondering how long Rebecca Strauss would last in a stink pit like this. How many negs was he able to fit into that paragraph?
Yeah.
One-time fashion model.
Yeah. Oh, Dan Brown, said Cindy Crawford. You're the sexiest person I've ever seen. Here's my number. I might call, said Dan Brown, if I have time. It's like, by the way, I know I sent this to you. The Stephen Fry quote about Dan Brown.
Please read it.
He called Dan Brown's writings, quote, complete loose stool water and arse gravy of the worst kind. Shout out to my friend and yours, Chris, who listens to the show, who you have talked to on the phone. And he alerted me to this Stephen Fry quote.
Wow.
Yeah.
As an example of the arse gravy of the worst kind, here's one that I highlighted just because it's like, this is a mess, words wise. Emerging like a demon from the earthen floor was an old man, ... or at least half of him. He was buried up to his waist in the earth, standing upright with half of him below ground, stripped naked, his hands tied behind his back with a red cardinal sash. He was propped limply upward, spine arched backward like some sort of hideous punching bag. The man's head lay backward, eyes toward the heavens as if pleading for help from God himself. That's just like, no editor was like, do you want to tighten that one up a little bit?
Great. Okay, that's done.
But for something with a little bit more meat to it, from the previous episode 209, I Could Be Your Angle, is us discussing the first couple of chapters of Angels and Demons by Dan
Oh,
Brown.
yes. There's a lot to dislike in those chapters. References to all works of art, tombs, tunnels, and architecture in Rome are entirely factual, as are their exact locations. They can still be seen today. The Brotherhood of the Illuminati is also factual. Now, I might ask, what does factual mean in this case?
As are their exact locations, Brian.
You know what?
You know, it's promising when an author starts a book and in the final sentence of the author's note is just like, you want a grammatical error? I will give you one.
But the interesting thing to me is the difference between factual and true. Like, this, did he not say, I guess factual is maybe the better word here because they are quote unquote facts. But it kind of stood out to me as a tortured phrase. Like, there's a better way of saying this.
There are a lot of tortured phrases in this book.
At one point, he used the word, what was it? Pentagrammal, which is not a word. I checked in the dictionary because it really rubbed my ears the wrong way. And I was like, okay, pentagonal, sure, but pentagrammal? Nope, that's nowhere to be found. Anyway, I'm not quite sure what he means by factual here, but also he commits grievous errors against fact on like literally page 1 or whatever. And immediately you're like, okay, everything this guy says is complete horseshit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the problem with slowing down to check this, because I think in the past when I've reread this book, like I reread this in the past year, just as a quick little read, and I probably read most of it stoned while almost falling asleep, as I do.
That's
with
the way to
often.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and going through it with a fine-tooth comb to talk about it on this podcast, it's just like, I even texted you the like English is the universal language of silence, BTW, which you said
Science.
is a true thing.
Yeah.
But because I can't trust a goddamn thing the man says, I'm doubting and Googling everything. And half the time, it's just made up. There's a whole thing about how skepticism is evil in this book. That's like a fucking quote.
Oh, that whole fucking thing. All right. Did you want me to read the prologue? Because
yes, you should read the prologue. And everybody, please pay attention to this first sentence because...
Excuse me. I need to put on my reading glasses.
Wow.
Yeah, and they don't quite fit over my headphones.
Those are great. You should wear those more often.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I like these. Physicist Leonardo Vetra smelled burning flesh, and he knew it was his own. He stared up in terror at the dark figure looming over him. What do you want? By the way, exclamation point right away instead of a question mark at the end of one. La chiave, the raspy voice replied. The password. Because, by the way, this guy doesn't speak Italian. He had to translate it for English, but also
to the Italian.
Okay, well, I should just read it and not kind of. But I don't. The intruder pressed down again, grinding the white-hot object deeper into Vestra's chest. There was the hiss of broiling flesh. Vestra. I said Vestra. It's Vetra. Sorry. Vetra cried out in agony. There is no password. He felt himself drifting towards unconsciousness. The figure glared. Ne avevo paura. Or however you say that. I was afraid of that. Vetra fought to keep his senses, but the darkness was closing in. His only solace was in knowing his attacker would never obtain what he had come for. A moment later, however, the figure produced a blade and brought it to Vetra's face. The blade hovered, carefully, surgically. For the love of God! Vetra screamed. But it was too late. fucking piece of shit. So
You know, Brian,
stupid.
you have a promising future in audiobook reading.
Why, thank you, Leighton. High atop the steps of the Great Pyramid of Giza, a young woman laughed and called down to him, Robert, hurry up. I knew I should have married a younger man. Her smile was magic. He struggled to keep up, but his legs felt like stone. Wait, he begged, please. As he climbed, his vision began to blur. There was a thundering in his ears. I must reach her. But when he looked up again, the woman had disappeared. In her place stood an old man with rotting teeth. The man stared down, curling his lips into a lonely grimace. Then he let out a scream of anguish that resounded across the desert. Robert Langdon awoke with a start from his nightmare. He had been reading the book Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. The worst thing he'd ever read. This can't be real, he muttered to himself. A book this bad can't possibly exist. But then he looked down, and the book he was holding was the book Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. Wait, said Robert Langdon. Am I a fictional character, or am I real? His smoldering gaze looked down at his own creamy thighs. I'm not going to continue this bit.
Was that all off the dome?
Yes.
That was fabulous.
Thank you.
I would like to skip forward like a page because I want to talk about the way that Dan Brown introduces characters. And
okay, I do want to talk. Sorry, please continue.
Because if it's a man, that's one thing. If it's a woman, Dan Brown has a compulsive need to blurt out their weight immediately.
Every single time. I actually looked around in this book because it's so obvious. People, and they're usually overweight, by the way. I started at some point in the book, I tried to make note of anytime a new male character was introduced, what the description was. And not once did I find an indication of the man's weight. However, every single woman that he introduces,
of which there are very few,
comment upon. Very few. There's like 5, maybe. Her weight is noted immediately, and it's said. By the way, also, how does he refer to his protagonist in the book?
Shall we start with how his appearance is introduced?
Well, okay. Actually, before we even get to that, just real quick, page fucking 1 of this book. My name is Maximilian Kohler. I'm a discrete particle physicist. What the fuck are we talking about? A discrete particles are discrete. Discrete means in little chunks, right? As opposed to continuous. Discrete is the opposite of continuous. Nobody in the world says I'm a discrete particle physicist. That is redundant. Particles are discrete things. That's not a thing. That's not it. I mean, yes, being a discrete particle is a thing, but it's redundant. No scientist in the world would call themselves a discrete particle physicist. It's fucking stupid. And
but Brian, he's the director of CERN.
Oh my God. Yeah. The CERN, which has a free fall chamber and a gun range.
The free fall chamber, which Dan Brown thinks it's very important to note that there's a fat woman in there.
Oh, he's got to talk
plot
about
relevant.
Yeah, he's got to talk about the fat lady in the free fall chamber. Right away, I was like, "Are you kidding me with this discrete particle physics?" And then you're a professor of religious iconography at Harvard University. Symbology? I hate the talk of symbology as if it's a real thing. Look, It might. By the way, the shit that we're saying might be wrong, but please, I'm going to say something Dan Brown has never said. Please fact check us. If I say something wrong, I want to know about it. Such concerns don't seem to ever cross Dan Brown's mind. Anyway, discrete particle physicist fucking got me. Because right away I was like, I hate this dude. Okay, please.
Can you? Okay, before we got to that, I forgot about the other thing that I love on page fucking 2. A knowing groan escaped Langdon's lips. This had happened before.
So much groaning.
One of the perils of writing books about religious symbology was the calls from religious zealots who wanted him to confirm their latest sign from God. Last month, a stripper from Oklahoma had promised Langdon the best sex of his life if he would fly down and verify the authenticity of a cruciform that had magically appeared on her bed sheets. The Shroud of Tulsa, Langdon had called it.
Yeah,
This is going to be...
There we go. Best sex of his life right there.
This is going to be the first of almost every 5 pages that Dan Brown talks about how much everyone badly wants to fuck Robert Langdon, who is totally not
Everybody.
Dan Brown's self-insert at all. Please don't flip to the back and look at the author photo after reading the description
my
of Robert
God.
Langdon, which we will now
He has,
proceed to
quote,
read.
Yeah, okay, there he is. Because I think this is the same passage that I drew a line next
As
to
Langdon sat, is that how it starts?
It's I started just below that, but yes.
Okay.
Please continue.
No, I think you should read it. It's important for
Oh,
a man's
okay,
voice to be
yes.
heard as Langdon
Well, I
is
appreciate
reflecting on his fucking advanced age.
As Langdon sat on his brass Maharishi's chest and savored the warmth of the chocolate, the bay window caught his reflection. The image was distorted and pale, like a ghost, an aging ghost. He thought, cruelly reminded. It's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever read.
An aging ghost.
An aging ghost, cruelly reminded that his youthful spirit was living in a mortal shell. How old is he supposed to be here, by the way?
Oh, it's about to say.
Okay. Yes. Although not overly handsome in a classical sense, the 40-year-old Langdon.
Wait,
From
it says,
this previous.
it says 45-year-old for me. Does it say 40?
Oh, mine says 40. Yeah, it does. Look.
You can't see shit here, but
I
to be
can't see
fair,
shit
I'm
there.
reading a pirated copy that has
That's
some
crazy.
iffy.
Okay.
Interesting. Either way, 40 or 45.
Okay, 40.
Hello? Old?
You're an aging yeah, like also in academic circles, that is like fully mid-career. Like that is not old. Anyway.
He feels so weird about being old that like that dream of, oh, Robert, I knew I should have married a younger man comes back.
This guy's 8 years younger than I am. I fucking hate him. The 40-year-old Langdon had what his female colleagues referred to as an erudite appeal. Wisps of gray in his thick brown hair, probing blue eyes. Sound familiar? An arrestingly deep voice, and the strong, carefree smile of a collegiate athlete, a varsity diver in prep school and college. Langdon still had the body of a swimmer, a toned. By the way, we just talked about how much this guy is aging, and he still has the body of a swimmer. A toned 6-foot physique that he vigilantly maintained with 50 laps a day in the university pool. Langdon's friends had always viewed him as a bit of an enigma, a man caught between centuries. On weekends, he could be seen lounging on the quad in blue jeans, discussing computer graphic or religious history with students. Other times, he could be spotted in his Harris tweed and paisley vest, photographed in the pages of upscale art magazines. Upscale art magazines at museum openings where he had been asked to lecture. Although a tough I'm not going to read this next part.
Oh, no,
actually,
it has the dolphin
it's so
in
bad.
it.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Although a tough teacher and strict disciplinarian, Langdon was the first to embrace what he held as the, quote, lost art of good, clean fun. He relished recreation with an infectious fanaticism, which, by the way, I first read as fascism, that had earned him a fraternal acceptance among his students. His campus nickname, the Dolphin, was a reference both to his affable nature, and his legendary ability to dive into a pool and outmaneuver the entire opposing squad in a water polo match, which he still did. So he's complaining that he's too old to move or whatever, and yet he's a fucking expert water polo player. Everything about this sucks. By the way,
like
what his female colleagues referred to as an erudite appeal. What are we talking about? The guy is so horned up for himself, but only if a woman's looking at him, which is, I mean, look,
Brian, he's so old. He's so decrepit at the age of 40.
I will say one thing about this book is, even though it is kind of explicitly racist in some ways, it does not strike me. It does not strike me as homophobic, which is actually kind of a win for this particular book, because all he needed was one gay character. But also, by the way, there are no queer characters in this book whatsoever that you can tell. But at least it's not homophobic. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a point there for not being too gay panicky, which he very well would not have been outside the realm of what I would expect.
That's a low bar to clear.
No. It's surely look, the guy, I hate this book. I'm trying to find some small positives where I can. But despite being racist, despite being extremely misogynist, at least he's not being homophobic. All right, now I have a question for you. And maybe this is me being dumb. The I can be your angle or your demon meme. Is Aaron in the original one of that? Or is there just a version with him?
No, I'm pretty sure that it originally was Aaron.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Hold on. I let me fact check.
I got served on my favorite social media site, Facebook, the other day.
Right.
I frequent all the time. I get served. Actually, the shit I get served on Facebook is more objectionable and stupid than any other site, which is probably not super surprising. I get a lot of music theory for people who seemingly don't know music theory, which is like, what's a major triad? Here it is. As discussed on the show, I get served a lot of bad math memes. I constantly get served this one thing, which is like some movie appreciation thing, which is just lengthy happy birthday wishes to whatever celebrity or movie related person was born on that day. And they're always, sometimes they're big names. Usually it's some rando character actor, which I love rando character actors, but it's like 4 paragraphs of some story about them on set. Where was I going with this? Now I can't remember.
Facebook.
I was talking about Facebook, wasn't I? Why? Oh, that's right. So I got served something from, I believe, Game Rant, which was a quote by Aaron with a picture of him.
What was the quote?
It was something like, sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. Something like that.
Oh, sometimes you got to say, draw a line in the sand.
That's what it is.
What I'm willing to put up with today, not fucking this.
That's what it was.
Aaron is not the original I can be your angle or your devil, but I think the first misspelling of the your and also the wider proliferation of it is the one with Aaron.
Is that from Know Your Meme?
Yes.
Great.
What are we doing?
I think honestly we have enough, I think this is a good ending. Do we have one more clip? Why don't we throw some, much like me at the club, why don't we throw some shorties in here? We're going to play a few, what?
No, take it away.
We're going to play a few like little moments from various episodes throughout the year. I'm just going to kind of tee these up real fast with some of our favorite guests from the year. Here's one from episode 214 featuring one of our favorite guests of all time, Chris Grace, the amazing Chris Grace, who is having a really great year with his special and all sorts of appearances and stuff. The guy's just crushing it recently. And it's so fun to see him, basically blowing up right now. So here's a little moment from our episode 214 with Chris Grace.
I feel like as somebody with really bad anxiety and a long history of panic attacks, a panic attack is always, I'm dying right now. And they're like mini bosses for actually dying. And I think the true triumph would be actually dying and being like, oh, those panic attacks weren't so bad. I didn't need to have all those. This is fine. Like, that's the goal.
I think almost 100% that's what's going to happen. I've like been right there when someone died, and I've been nearby 2 other people like close to when they were dying.
Same.
And wait, was it the same person?
I didn't look up. No, it might have been.
Brian and I, we were both EMTs.
Brian rapidly running away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah. Well, look, you don't want them to catch you. That's less fun.
Yeah. But my hunch is actually that like there's a lot of worry about it that at the end you're just like, oh, what was all that
Which
for?
is honestly true about most things, I think. Like, at least the stuff I chronically worry about, I often find, and I know this is the classic thing, it's like, oh, that actually, I got through that fine. That wasn't the worst thing that ever. Why did I fucking worry about it so much? It happened and it wasn't too bad.
There's like an unhinged relief to that sometimes when it happens. Like when I did that, for the Witching Hour show, I did a VJ set. Technically, a disaster. Everyone was like, "No, you did fine," but it was worst case scenario for me. In the moment that I got off the stage, I was like, Oh, fucking hell yeah. I'm in such a good mood. I've been like worrying about this for a whole month. Worst thing possible happened and it's over. I don't give a fuck. Nobody has to apologize to me. I am chill.
In that case, the worst thing possible was what? Stuff just not working?
Yeah, stuff just not working. I was also VJing to my desktop for a full 60 seconds before I realized.
You can say vagina. That's fine.
Wait.
Another shorty here. Now, many of you may not know that I am actually a married man. It's true. I've been married for 17 years, for 12 years, for 6 years, and for 2 years. And we're going to go for the 17-year wife here. Her name is Rachel. And she's very supportive and doesn't ask a lot of questions, which makes it kind of a perfect relationship for me. And we did. I wanted to do for a while. I wanted to do a newlywed game style thing. Ironic considering the length of time that we have been married, which maybe we even talked about on the show. It's more of an oldie wed thing.
Wow.
That's right. We're coming up on 20 years.
Crazy.
Right? Crazy. The I don't know. Why do I say stuff like
why do you do this?
I don't, because I thought it would be funny, and
you're
it just
over here
not
with a shovel just digging
bits to be cut. I'm not going to cut that. I just thought it would register as funny, but instead it just came across as mean.
Yeah.
So, well, we are going to cut that. Yeah. Anyway, we wanted to do this newlywed thing, or I wanted to do it, and Rachel was very amenable to it, and we had a really nice moment there, answering a question. Episode 215 with the one, the only Rachel Wetched.
Rachel, in your answer for yourself,
My
what
answer
are you
for my
most likely to be arrested and tried for?
murder.
Great.
Straight up murder. Yeah.
Wait, what did you just say?
Straight up murder.
I wrote straight up murder.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yep.
That's incredible.
That's the legal classification. Straight up murder.
Straight up murder.
That's amazing that you said
That's
that.
incredible, actually.
Yes.
More
All right.
stressful than I could have possibly imagined. Brian, what would you be
Yes.
arrested
I can't
and
believe
tried
I
for?
wrote straight up murder. For me, I wrote my crime would be being too funny / talented / smart.
I thought you were gonna say like sick raps or something, but I didn't.
Hmm.
No.
I went honest again. I didn't do jokes, but I wrote
Yeah.
vehicular manslaughter.
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
He
I
wouldn't
don't know why just the
mean-
phrase vehicular manslaughter. So
he wouldn't mean to kill someone, but you drive like a maniac.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I do not.
You drive like a maniac.
I definitely do not. I drive like I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, like a maniac.
I'm a very safe driver.
Anyway, so that's
Straight up murder.
Great.
straight up. Yeah.
That was awesome.
But I've told Brian many times, and I think I've even told you this, Leighton. I said we should have a special savings account for me because if like certain if anything ever happened to my child, straight up murder. Like
That's
this.
that's exactly the context that I envision that happening is someone does something to Audrey, and even if it's just like they bump into her at the store, Rachel's like, this motherfucker's going down now.
Yep. And they'd never see it coming.
No.
Okay.
What
All
is
right,
truth
what a
of
success.
the
This is see
secreted away legal fund. How often are people mispronouncing your name?
what do you think?
I don't know, like 1 out of every 5.
Yeah, pretty much. What's nice is
Wedged.
so they'll it's usually wetched when people say it wrong. Sometimes they say white because they're just reading fast.
Brian White.
Brian White, right?
Late at night with Brian White.
Well, that's pretty good actually. When I lived in Europe, I would get a lot of vecht. So
Okay,
which is not
badass,
the way I
though.
said it, but it's better actually, closer probably to the original.
Makes you sound like a vampire.
Yes, indeed. Especially when I would be in Germany, when I was in Germany, which is it's a German-looking word. It is not German as far as I understand it, but it's a German-looking word, and they would call me like Herr Dr. Vecht, which is fucking awesome. Right. I always wished. Have I talked about this on the show? I always wished I had like double PhDs.
You wanted double doctor?
Yeah, so I could be double doctor.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Dr. Vecht. But in the U.S., people get the W part right. They say "w" instead of "v," and they mispronounce the "ch." Which
Wucked.
Yeah, wucked.
Brian defucked.
Defuck. Yeah, the people will often say "wetched," and I just don't even, unless it's like for a thing where I'm being introduced. There's no point in correcting them, because there also are I have a friend who's the last name Precht, and she pronounces it Precht.
Oh.
Right. So, it's some, Americanized pronunciation of whatever. So it's not crazy to think that it's wetched. It looks like wetched.
It's like when I get called Leighton, where it's like, okay, I see the vision.
But that's nuts. Leighton?
I know, but I've heard it
Nobody
enough
says
times
Leighton.
over. No, but like the name Lee is a little bit more common, so I think they say
Yeah, but
Lee
Leighton is a
ton.
common
No, it's
common
not.
enough name. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Have you met any other Leightons?
There's famous Leighton Meester.
Meester,
right?
I know, and I've met her.
Yeah. And did you guys have a Leighton off?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Only one survived.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun, actually, to be in a married couple with the same surname, but you pronounce it different ways.
Would that be
Right.
fun?
I mean, my definition of fun, which is it's a
Yeah.
thing I would constantly be talking about.
Mutually antagonistic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's see. Here's another shorty from two guests I was very excited to have on today. Very excited to have on Jeff and Jason from 108.9 The Hawk. Jeff Garlock from, of course, What's That From, who's been on the show once before, right, with Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, I love their show. They're both very funny, and I was excited that they agreed to come on. This is just a little story with those guys. I think where I'm mostly telling it, but at least that's...
Let's play more clips where guests are on, but actually it's just Brian talking.
I have raised somebody in my own image, which is impossible. She never takes anything seriously. She's constantly trying to do little one-up bits. It's extremely annoying, and yet I have nobody to blame but myself. I know I told you this, Leighton. A couple months ago, we were playing Uno, and she was trash talking me and called me, and this is a quote, a sloppy middle-aged dude. And just to make people laugh. And my sister was visiting at the time, and it was one of the funniest things. She just comes out with these like just things all the time that are so funny. And I feel like by my nonstop doing of bits, I'm creating some kind of comedy super soldier, which I can only hope is true. And my wife is very similar too.
Do you think there's any truth behind that, though? That she kind of does think you're a sloppy middle-aged guy?
Oh, I think there's 100% truth behind it. Yeah. Oh, no. Man, look, there's only
like
one word.
It's a joke, but...
there's one word in that's even up for debate. And I'm sure also, I mean, I just want to say Audrey's room is not exactly a paragon of cleanliness and order. But sloppy. Honestly, what I really loved about it is she picked... Like if she called me dumb, I'd be like, I know I'm not dumb. Or if she was like, you're ugly, I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't think so, but whatever. Sloppy hurts just enough. It is
my God.
Laser targeted, and I would be lying if I wasn't like, wait, do people think I'm sloppy?
Yeah, it's a smart move.
Is that how I come across?
It's another way of saying slob.
Yeah, she found the word. She found the thing that was like it's in there.
She's the snob and you're the slob. It's a classic slobs versus snob
that's
situation.
Right.
My favorite Disney cartoon.
It's a real Caddyshack type of story. Okay, and with that, another best of episode draws to a close.
Yes.
Yes, that was I'd say a great episode.
It was pretty good. I think we peaked in the beginning, and the rest of it was just victory laps. But
there's a lot of stuff that we're going to end up cutting because I was feeling a little saucy, and I did my usual amount of, anti-woke stuff, and you insisted that we cut it because it wouldn't appeal to our fan base.
Right. And as we all know, everything we do in this show is to appeal to the fan base. Alienating the audience or subjecting the audience to certain comedy choices is just not in our wheelhouse. We just kind of roll over and do whatever the fans want.
That's right. That's why we're so massively popular.
That's why we are crushing it on the charts.
Yes.
On the Patreon. Genuinely, though, thank you for listening to this show.
That is, I
do not mean to be flippant about that, but
no,
our nature.
The show's doing great, for real. And what I like, honestly, the best part about the show, other than getting to record it with you, is the wonderful community of people that listen to it and that we see on the Discord and
on socials
and in real life. I've seen a bunch for my travels for Trey shows and stuff this year. I've seen a lot of pod people in real life, and it's wonderful to meet people who say, "Oh, I love the podcast." And actually, there are a bunch of it's even cooler. It's lovely to see people that now I know and now know in person from the Discord, but occasionally, and not that infrequently, there's someone who's like, "Oh, I love the show," and it's someone I don't know about or don't see their name. It's amazing.
And also an extra thank you to all the invisible listeners out there who don't engage with anything. Thank you. I'm that kind of listener to pods
too.
So you're out there, and I am blowing you a little kiss.
Yes, and I'm just blowing you.
All right. Well,
it's comedy, baby.
That's comedy, baby, and that's Late Night with Brian Wecht.
Yep. Part 2 coming next week.
Pissnog.
Every year on Christmas Eve, with friends and family near, there comes a little goblin guy to fill our day with cheer. Oh, pissnog, piss your piss for me. Load my mouth and quench my thirst with your delicious pee. People all around the world, from Tokyo to Turin, all gather round to guzzle down his warm, distinctive urine. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. Leave a nice hot mug of piss beneath the Pissmas tree. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. Yum, 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 yummy pee. Pissnog, piss your piss for me. I'll wait beneath the mistletoe for you to piss kiss me.